no fear. I'm standing right here, eyes peer, with my mind clear, never look rear, only up.
There are a few things more thrilling in MMA than a good comeback fight. As fans, we love to see fighters come back from the brink of defeat, pull through the adversity, and come out on top. It's what makes this sport so great, the fact that anything can happen at any moment. Although there have been dozens of incredible comeback moments throughout the years of MMA, I've narrowed it down to 10 of my personal favorites. If you guys think I missed anything, just let me know down in the comments below. And also be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. Now in no particular order, here's my list for the greatest comebacks in MMA history.
This is where the fun begins.
Matt Hughes and Frank Trigg had a history of bad blood coming into this fight, with Hughes getting the better of Trigg during their first encounter. This didn't sit too well with Trigg. Before the match even began, Hughes got in an altercation with Trigg during the stare down, shoving Trigg away as he got too close. Early into the first round, Trigg landed a low blow to Hughes, which went unnoticed by the referee. Frank Trigg seized this opportunity to go after the hurt Hughes, seizing his back and sinking in a rear naked choke on Hughes. The fight looked very close to being stopped, as Hughes went into survival mode, desperately trying not to tap. His face could even be seen turning purple as Trigg tightened on the submission. But being the champion that he is, Hughes finally managed to escape the submission and get on top of Trigg. From there, he picked Trigg up into the air and ran him all the way across the octagon, slamming him down as he reached the other end of the cage. Now it was time for revenge. Hughes took Trigg's back and forced Trigg to tap to the same submission that Trigg had attempted earlier. The crowd went wild as Matt Hughes pulled off one of the greatest comebacks in UFC history. After an upset loss to Antonio Bigfoot Silva, Alistair Overeem was looking to rebound from the defeat by taking on rising contender Travis Browne at UFC Fight Night 26. Early on, it looked like everything was going according to plan for Alistair Overeem. Less than 2 minutes into the first round, Overeem had Browne in serious trouble, landing some devastating shots as Browne curled up onto the canvas. Although the fight could have been justifiably stopped at this point, the ref allowed it to continue. Browne managed to survive and get back to his feet, going on the offense and throwing kicks at Overeem. A few of the follow-up kicks connected to Overeem's chin, with Overeem falling down to the canvas. Travis followed up with some hammer fist to finish the job, with the ref stepping in and stopping the fight in favor of Browne.
Going high. Alistair's plodding forward. He's hurt! That's it!
And just like that, Browne went from losing a fight to finishing a top heavyweight with a satisfying knockout.
And I clearly felt a tap.
Well, let's take a look at it. Well, it didn't look like a tap to us.
Pat Barry came into the fight with Cheick Kongo with 5 out of 6 of his wins ending by way of knockout. Combine that with the fact that Kongo also had several knockouts on his resume, fireworks were to be expected. Barry delivered on those expectations, hurting Kongo early and dropping him to the mat. The fight looked to be on the verge of being stopped right there, but Kongo miraculously managed to get back to his feet. Barry went after Kongo and once again set him down, with the fight appearing to be stopped at any minute. Yet again, Kongo somehow managed to get back to his feet and continue to fight. At this point, Barry decided to go for the kill. Kongo capitalized on this and hit Barry with a perfectly timed strike that sent him down completely stiff.
Trouble though. Barry looking to finish the fight. He's taking a run. Pat Barry's down.
A follow-up shot sealed the deal, and Barry laid there completely out cold. It was one of the wildest and craziest comebacks in UFC history.
Why can't you just die?
By the time UFC 117 came around, Anderson Silva was already widely recognized as the top pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC, and he had already made 6 successful defenses of his middleweight title. So when the lesser-known challenger Chael Sonnen came along and unleashed a tirade of insults and trash talk onto Silva, few actually believed he'd be able to follow through with it and deliver on his promise to defeat Silva.
There's this dirtbag named Anderson Silva. When Anderson Silva walks into a room, you could hear a rat piss on cotton.
I don't want to fight Anderson. I want to beat him down. I want to destroy Anderson.
He's got a black belt under the Nogueira brothers. Yeah. I think a black belt under the Nogueira brothers is saying I got a free toy at my Happy Meal.
Well, Anderson's a fraud. He's a liar and he's a thief.
This is going to be a one-sided pounding and I'm swinging the hammer.
But once fight night came, everyone soon found out that Chael Sonnen meant business. Early on, Sonnen landed some solid shots to Silva, and proceeded to take him down and beat the hell out of him for 4 straight rounds. Silva had never been dominated like this before. and it was clear going into the 5th round that Silva was going to lose his title unless he managed to finish Sonnen. With 2 minutes left in the final round, Silva went into desperation mode and slipped in a slick triangle choke onto Chael.
Oh, this is trouble! Can he choke out Chael Sonnen?
Although Chael Sonnen briefly fought off the submission, he was eventually forced to tap out.
It's across, that's what's he's tapping, it's all over!
It was a jaw-dropping and unbelievable moment both for Anderson Silva as well as the fans watching the fight. Back in 2012, it had been years since the UFC had held an event in Japan, and Japanese middleweight Yushin Okami was looking to pick up a victory at UFC 144. Facing off against Tim Boetsch, Okami looked to be comfortably winning the first 2 rounds, easily outstriking and outgrappling the less experienced Boetsch. It was clear Boetsch was down 2 rounds, with the 3rd and final round coming up next. Out of desperation, Boetsch's corner advised him to ignore being cautious and instead go after Okami to get a finish. Boetsch wisely took his corner's advice and took the action to Okami, charging after him and landing some damaging shots that rattled Okami. Boetsch followed up with some brutal uppercuts to Okami, finally sending him down to the mat.
Boetsch trying to finish him! What a comeback! And it is all over!
As if the comeback wasn't exciting enough, hearing Joe Rogan's reaction to the finish was priceless. Brock Lesnar vs. Shane Carwin was being hyped as the biggest fight in UFC history at the time. The statement could be taken literally, as both Lesnar and Carwin were massive heavyweights, the likes of which had rarely been seen in the UFC at that time. As Brock looked to defend his title as the UFC heavyweight champion, interim heavyweight champion Shane Carwin came into the fight as a terrifying opponent, boasting a 12-0 record with all 12 of his wins coming inside the first round, many of them by knockout. When the fight began, it immediately looked like Carwin was going to make this a quick night for Lesnar. Carwin dropped Lesnar and unleashed a barrage of ground and pound, to the point where it looked like it could have been justifiably stopped on several occasions. No one had ever seen Lesnar endure a beating like this. Despite the damage taken, Lesnar held on and somehow weathered the storm, surviving until the end of the first round. Going into the second round, Carwin was clearly gassed. Lesnar recognized this and took the exhausted Carwin down with ease. Lesnar then positioned himself to set up an arm triangle choke, squeezing on Carwin until he was forced to tap.
With one of the strongest men in the mixed martial arts world. It's all over!
It was the first time MMA fans had ever seen Lesnar overcome such extreme adversity. On paper, this fight seemed like a mismatch. Todd Duffy had been on a tear at this point, and came into the fight 6-0, with all of his wins coming by way of knockout, and 5 out of 6 being stopped in the first round. The impressive record along with his freak muscular physique made him the betting favorite coming into the fight with Mike Rousseau. Duffy dominated Mike Rousseau during the first 2 rounds, and looked like he had the fight in the bag. If Mike Rousseau was somehow able to survive until the end of the fight, the best case scenario looked like a lopsided victory for Duffy. Going into the 3rd round, Duffy began to visibly wear down, and Rousseau took this opportunity to land a clean right hand to Duffy's chin.
Backed up. Russell, oh, he got caught! Russell has knocked out Todd Duffy!
That one strike was all it took to render Todd Duffy completely unconscious. Duffy fell to the canvas out cold, but just to be safe, Mike Rousseau followed up with a brutal hammer fist for good measure.
Finish him!
It was both an impressive and hilarious comeback from Mike Rousseau. The co-main event at UFC 140 featured Frank Mir rematching Antonio Nogueira in the heavyweight division. When they first met at UFC 92, Mir defeated Nogueira via 2nd round knockout, becoming the first man to ever finish Nogueira. However, Nogueira claimed he had suffered from a staph infection prior to the fight, which had eventually led to bad blood between the two. During the rematch, Nogueira landed a strong right hand that had Mir in deep trouble, falling face forward to the ground. Mir looked like he was completely unconscious at this point, operating on autopilot and holding onto Nogueira's leg as he ate some punches to the side of the head. As Nogueira was warned about hitting the back of the head, he attempted an anaconda choke on Mir, and ended up on his back. Nogueira, looking to transition to Mir's back, lost position and Mir locked in a Kimura.
To Frank Mir! Can he get the submission? Oh, he might have it! Trouble! Oh, look at this! Unbelievable! Trying to finish it!
Nogueira was in deep trouble, with Mir torquing on Nogueira's arm until it broke completely.
Finish it! He's got him out! It's over!
At 3 minutes and 38 seconds of the first round, Big Nog finally tapped out, but by then the damage had already been done. Interestingly enough, referee Herb Dean had come close to stopping the fight, but in his words, Nogueira had earned the right to determine if he could continue or not. One of the very best at taking damage and somehow carrying on, Darren Elkins would pull off one of the greatest comebacks of all time at UFC 209 against his opponent Mirsad Bektic. The first round went terribly for Elkins, as he was being lit up on the feet before Bektic took him down and punched him from the top position, busting him wide open and having him close to being finished on a couple of occasions. The second round wasn't much better, but by the third, having been unable to take Elkins out, fatigue began to set in for Bektic. Elkins took advantage of this and began to come back, gaining some positional advantages, before he threw caution into the wind. Grabbing onto Bektic out of his scramble, Elkins landed a pair of big right hands before following with a head kick that sent Bektic crashing down.
Do you believe it? Darren the Damage Elkins knocks out Mirsad Bektic.
His celebration after the fight said it all. This was a man who would never give up no matter how bad things got, meaning a comeback was always possible.
How good does this feel? Oh, it feels awesome, man. Greatest feeling there. Probably my biggest comeback fight ever. I thought I lost it for a second for sure, and I knew I had to finish.
Now stand aside, worthy adversary. 'Tis but a scratch.
The heart and determination of Frankie Edgar has never been a secret among MMA fans, and his iconic trilogy with Gray Maynard proved that. Gray Maynard got the better of Edgar during their first encounter, winning the fight by decision. Following the loss, Edgar quickly rose through the lightweight division, going on to claim the lightweight title that was long held by BJ Penn. Frankie Edgar's second title defense saw him in a rematch with the only man who had beaten him thus far, Gray Maynard. In one of the most lopsided rounds in MMA history, Gray Maynard bullied Edgar for 5 minutes, dropping him on multiple occasions and landing numerous strikes that busted Edgar up. How Edgar managed to survive was a sight to behold. It was like something out of a Rocky movie. Although Edgar was able to come back and fight through the next 4 rounds, the fight ended in an unsatisfying draw, with fans demanding a final fight between the two. The third fight started in similar fashion to the second, with Gray Maynard rocking Edgar early, leaving him badly hurt. Despite the brutal beating Edgar sustained during the first round, he managed to come back and land a huge uppercut to Maynard in the 4th round. Edgar proceeded to follow up with some vicious right hooks, dropping Maynard to the canvas and ending the fight, as well as their trilogy. If you guys think I missed any fights on this list, just let me know down in the comments below. Also let me know what are some of your favorite comeback fights. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.
You never have a doubt, do you like me now? Am I good enough now? Should I get more loud till you hear the fucking sound? Oh no, I'm losing my shit again, having the fit again. Man, I'm forgetting when I used to have some friends. I used to play pretend, we all grow up and then hating my phone and trends. I'm about to blow my head, nobody knows I'm dead. Here I'm a ghost instead, think that I'm close, I get straight comatose in bed. Try to go slow with breath, breathe out my nose and head. Heart doesn't go the trend, faster it goes.